Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming and welcome to GQuad Family Traditions, the Garden Quilt and Art Show. Maria Graham, thank you for coming and welcome. Dolores, of course, you're here helping me get started. Woo, it's been a busy day. I ran in and I looked at the clock in my bedroom and it said 5:01. But I'm going to leave this down because I forgot to get. Don't put the ad on though, because nobody's really here. Let's find my phone. 1 minute. I will be right there. So, oh, there you are. Lord have mercy. Don't get old. Actually, ah, don't get old, y'all. Yankee sister, I see you're here bright and early. Wait a minute. I thought you were camping. Oh, you are. That's why you said a quick second. Thank you for coming and welcome. I went and got my iPad because you guys are ahead of me in the chat. Hey, sissy. Joanne C. Stevens, thank you. So, Daddy used to said, start ahead, you'll be on time. I thought I was starting ahead, but I almost was not on time because I had just a busy day. But it was a good day. Every day you're above Earth is actually a good day, right? Oh, I hear an echo. That's why I didn't turn that off. So, how is everybody doing? How was everybody doing after the storms that have been going across the country? If you're okay, put an okay in the chat. Put okay. What's your temperature? It suddenly got cool here. So I am monkeying around with the phone so that I can see the chat. So today this episode will feature a beginner friendly tutorial on how to put corners on something. And so true, GQuat. I guess he's talking about every day above Earth being a good day. So I will put my phone over here so that I can turn around. And if you're here on a replay, thank you for coming. And leave a message in the comments so that I will know that you were here. I would like to thank the moderators because without the moderators, I probably would not have a channel. Because when I first started, it was about the first 8, 9, 10 people who came, most of which had channels or were following me and very faithful, looking out for trolls in the audience and things that I couldn't see, or repeating things or questions in the audience that I couldn't see if I was sewing. Chris, oh, Chris is one of my children. I call my children, he's a grown man with a master's degree and a family, and he became a friend of the family, his whole family, and now my son. He lives in Arizona now, and he says it's good to see me. I haven't seen him in quite some time. He has seen other members of the family. I love you, Chris. I love you, Chris. He used to come over and spend the night. He and my son are especially close. That touches my heart, Chris. You saw it on Facebook and came in. And tell the wife and kids I said hello. And next time I come to Arizona, I promise I will let you know. He says he loves me too. I know that you do. I know that you do. So, you guys, thank you for coming. Those of you in the bushes, what the bushes means is those of you who are listening but not in on the chat. So thankful for all that you guys have done for me and my family. Yes, we need to break bread. Oh, you touch my heart. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Hugs, hugs, hugs. You know, this is a testimony that says good friends may become family. To tell you a story about him when, oh my gosh, I won't, I'll let him tell you his age, but their dog was having puppies. So they knew that I bred dogs and used to have animals. They came and got me. Hey, Nancy, our treasured home. Hope you're feeling better. And I went to their house and rubbed their mommy dog's stomach until all the puppies were born, cut the umbilical cords and everything, dried them off, put them on a heating pad, and make sure that they were okay. That's some of the friends and family stories going way back. Dolores, thank you for coming. Hope you're feeling well today. I hope everybody is doing well. So, what we are going to talk about today is how you put a binding on things. Everybody's saying hello to each other because one of my friends is an adjunct at a local university, and someone gave her a piece of mudcloth that she brought back, that they brought back from someplace in Africa. I trimmed the strings off, but before I do that, I want to show you something quick because let me take my name off for a minute. Hey, Rita's Roost. She's going to listen. Well, you feel taters. I've been watching you do bindings and everything. You all, Rita's Roost is a quilting channel. She has a long arm and a whole studio set up on her farm. She has a big place. And we all have to work and listen and be in the bushes. And I think it's so touching that everybody goes on with their life, but we still manage to support each other. So I'm going to take some of these tickers off for a minute so that I can maybe have more room to show you where the sewing machine is, because you guys asked me another question. Thank you for Dolores for helping me do that. And I want to tell those of you who want to sew about a couple of little quickie things that I use for a pattern. And this is just an old CD. I took this one, I was about to throw it in the trash. Then I said, wait a minute. I paid over $100 for this. It was called Naturally Speaking, and it was something back then, a program where it was a text to speech program. I paid a lot of money for it. It was supposed to be helping me write a book, and whatever I typed or whatever I said actually would turn it into typing. Well, it didn't go well. Something didn't work, the computer. So I paid all this money for this fancy CD, so I'm going to keep it. But what I'm going to use it for is a template. There is a quilt called a coin quilt where you take different fabrics and you call them coins because you use this CD for the pattern and it's shaped like a coin. And I'm going to show you how I enclose anything. One of the pillow that I made last week, it was a neck bone pillow and I appliqued a heart on it. But because it was a heart on a knit fabric, I didn't want the edges to ravel. So I actually put adhesive on it and I'll show you how I did it, how you can do it with a coin, or you can do it. I did a heart. I'll show you how I made the heart. So, thanks all of you who are in here on a busy Saturday afternoon. Nancy said she's doing good. She's doing a live tomorrow with an update about her health over the last few days. Okay, I will catch the replay. I'm not usually on the tubes on Sunday because I do virtual church and family and friends day, and I give my eyes a rest, my glaucoma, my eyes. I don't want to bend over and show too much. I was trying to hurry up, and I usually put a undershirt on, something. I didn't. So I'm going to take this 5-inch charm square. I cut it myself, and this is just a piece of actually, I'm thinking. Actually, I normally use a piece of double sided adhesive, but this one is single sided. So I'll show you what I'll do. This is the right side of the animal print and the right side of the adhesive. So I know that this is the adhesive side because I can feel this rough edge. I know that's the adhesive. So I'm going to put these two sides together, and it's not 5 inches. I'm showing you how I just use a piece of scrap. Dolores is talking to Nancy, saying that she will check out. And I'm showing you this because I'm actually going to be cutting some pieces out of denim to put on my mother's quilt. I'm making my mother a denim quilt. It'll be ready for her birthday. So these are just scraps that I'm going to pin together and put on the side. Here, I'm just taking the piece of scrap. I usually cut, when I cut pieces of fabric or anything that I have left over, blocks, pieces, I try to make them so that they are a common denominator, meaning a size of a block or fabric that I usually use a lot. So, what am I doing here? I'm just rough trimming up this piece so that it it fits the other. But let me introduce myself because those of you who are new to the channel, Garden Quilt and Art Traditions, oh, Auntie Joanne is saying, Angel just woke up and heard me speaking, and now she's looking for me. I spend months at a time in Arizona at my sister's house, and her dog Angel is actually Mr. Hershey's daughter. Hershey is 11, so Angel must be about 8. 8. So 8 times 7? No. Yeah, 8 times 7 is 56. GT Jr. grows in Alaska. I just saw your fabric haul, nephew. So, going back to garden quilt and our traditions, we do gardening, cooking from scratch. Chris My adopted son calls me Mom Penny. Everybody calls me Mom or Auntie going back through the years. And cooking from scratch, I've always done this. GT Jr. grows in Alaska, says it's 56 degrees where he is. We do the traditional arts like the heritage arts, crocheting, quilting. Uh, Quilting has different genres. The old fashioned ways, which included tying the quilts instead of hand quilting them or even machine quilting or long arm quilting them. Rita's Roost has a long arm. I used to have one. I used to be an officer with the long arm group and on several other groups. This is a couple of my IDs for some of the quilting groups I belonged to in the past. One is the Carolina Long Arm Association. One is the Lake Gaston Peacemakers Guild. This is the word traditions that I was going to use. I have it on a t-shirt and I have it digitized. This is actually so that I can print it on my embroidery machine. And this is a smaller piece that I can put on my embroidery machine. But then I decided that everybody doesn't know what traditions are. So I would add GQUAT for the purpose of YouTube. And then I added Garden Quilt and Art Show. Robin Murphy, thank you for coming. So what I'm going to do is show you how I made a little template for a heart so that I could put an applique on one of these neck bone pillows. I happen to have a neck bone pillow that is not sewn, and I'll show you what I'll do. So, this is the right side of an animal print fabric and the right side of an adhesive fabric. For those of you who just came in, I can tell it's the adhesive side because this side is smooth that doesn't have adhesive, and the part that has adhesive is kind of rough. So I'm going to make a heart, just a free form heart, just free form. I'm going to fold it in half because I'm going to try to make the heart symmetrical. And I'm just going to start here and aim towards the sides. I'm just eyeballing it. I guess you can see it better if I do this. It's kind of how I made the heart for the other pillow. You see this? So now, as soon as the live started, you had Amazon, UPS, and groceries delivered. Hey, Mike, all at once. Um, I used to have a gentleman who used to walk Mr. Hershey when I had my hip replacement and my previous knee replacement. And I used to get so many packages that he swore I was dating. He said, "Are you dating Jeff Bezos or whoever the head of Amazon is?" Because I used to get packages every day. And it was during the you know what. So I didn't go out to the stores and I couldn't walk around. Marie Graham says it's a very nice heart. It's just a little something something. And the reason I did it like that is to show you guys you don't have to have a template. You don't have to be artistic. You just do what you do, and the hearts that are made the most individually, that's what's art, not just copying and tracing something. So I'm going to put a little pin in it just to keep it from sliding because I'm going to show you exactly what I did. And since the other pillow was a memory quilt and I put a heart, you may know someone who has someone that passed away. Hopefully, you will not. And I put a pin, it doesn't matter which side. And what I'm going to do is just sew around the edges of the entire quilt. The entire quilt. And then I'll show you what I do after that. First, we'll turn her on. This is a heavy duty singer that I use for little projects. I actually bought this machine not too long ago just to sew a lot of denim, a lot of bags. Crafting on a dime, Shay Shay. Those of you who have content, please drop your link so that I can find you later and the others can find you. I was looking for your channel, Shay Shay, but I didn't know the whole name of it and I couldn't find it. So I will be joining your family. You guys, Crafting on a Dime with Shay Shay does what she says, and she does what I'm doing right now, taking a charm square, a 5-inch square, a 5-inch square of stabilizer, and I'm going to sew around the entire piece. And thank you for coming. Why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. So, what I'm going to do, you're saying, Auntie Ellen, why are you sewing around the entire thing? How are you going to turn it inside out? I know a little bit about sewing, and you got to leave an opening so that you can turn it inside out. Well, guess what, you guys? Not this, because I'm going to sew this one entirely around the whole piece, just about a 1/4 inch seam. A 1/4 inch seam is the standard for quilting, but this is not quilting, this is just sewing. And I'm going to try to keep it in the shape of a heart as I go around the edges. So watch this shred. And when I turn, I leave the needle down. And I can turn it a little bit while I'm sewing because I'm sewing slowly. Hold your questions a minute, you guys. I can't see if you're asking me something. So, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And this is how you can make an enclosed applique. So, yes, I'm wasting thread, but I'd rather waste thread than unthread the machine and sit up here like Mrs. Magoo or Three Blind Mice trying to find the end of the thread. So this little point, I'm going to cut the edge, the tip off, and I'm trying to see which side you may see the best. I'm going to actually make it so that I can see it. So I'm going to clip the edges because when you're sewing, those of you who are new to sewing, whenever you have curves, whether you're sewing clothing or making upholstery or doing anything, generally, if you clip the curves, it makes the seams open up and stretch. Okay, so then you say, well, Auntie Ellen or Mommy Penny, Nana, whatever you call me, you can call me whatever you like, you guys, as long as you respect your elders. So, here's the wrong side of the heart over here. Here's the wrong side over here. I will take your questions in 1 second. So, it wouldn't be alive if I didn't drop something, you guys. So, you won't be able to see my face. So, what I'm going to do On the interfacing side, I'm just going to make a little slit. What? You're making a little slit? Yes. I made a little slit in the back. You see this? And I'm using that to turn this whole little heart inside out. Oh, you guys, it's heavy. A couple of weeks ago, you heard a big crash. This is what fell. This is a ceramic vase that I made years ago when I first woke up from a coma and I was taking arts and crafts. And I made this out of a thick piece of clay and I rolled it out with a rolling pin and I poked holes in it for decoration. And I had a leaf from outside. I made an imprint and then scratched it in. And then, oops, the class instructor baked it for me. Then I put the glaze on it and did it again. But I use it just for, it's okay, Mike. You just don't jump. It's okay. It didn't even break. But you don't jump when you hear a loud noise because you always have one in the hole. And, you got to stay calm so you can squeeze it slowly in case of an emergency. So what I'm doing is I'm hand taking my fingers and turning this heart inside out so that the fabric is there. And here's my handy dandy little chopstick that I keep there. And this is just if you want your applique to be smooth. You don't have to. You can do rough edge applique. What is rough edge applique? The heart that I cut out, I didn't have to put this on the back of it. I did not have to put this on the back of it. So here is the heart. You see this? And I had this little pillow over here. I'm just making extra ones because at the end of the year, you guys, the moderators that I've had have been with me for two years that I've almost 2 years that I've had a channel. Around Chris Mahana Kwanzaa, it will be 2 years. Hi, Donzel Cooper. You're not late. You're here. You made it. Thank you. So, what I would do now that you see the heart, you can't see where I broke it on the inside. I would go to my ironing board, and this is the sticky side, right? Or the adhesive side. And I would just take the iron and place it on high. And you can use a heat press, but you don't have to have one. And that's how you would make a memory dog bone pillow, neck bone pillow. And these are really, really helpful. Everybody who has one uses it for everything. I'll tell you a little secret because she can't answer because I know she's in the bushes. Yankee's sister is on a camping trip with her family. Guess what? She has her neck bone pillow that she got. She's one of the moderators, but she lives nearby and she came and I forgot what happened. It was a birthday or something and she stopped by and I had a pillow sitting there and I gave it to her for a birthday present. For a birthday present. Do any of you have any questions? Oh, Shay Shay said she finished cleaning it. Good for you, Shay Shay. I'm going to look up and see what I missed. So it says, I don't know what happened. A message was retracted. Dolores says she uses her pillow every night. She feels like she wants one everywhere. That's why I don't have the two out here because I sleep on one. I made one for a trip, but I like the trip anyway. I mean, I like the pillow so much. I use one on my neck and one on my knees or one on my back. I wake up like I'm still married. You're reaching for your husband or wife, or so that you can, what do you say, you can spoon or cuddle up to it. So my pillow is my significant other or others. Yes. So, do any of you have any questions? Because I will look up to see Crafting on a Dime with Shay Shay. I'm looking for your links so that I can join your family. I don't see it. Shay Shay, if you want to drop the link for your channel so we can join your family, put exclamation mark GQUAT. Auntie Joanne says she has two of her pillows behind her back right now. She and Uncle Roscoe have two pillows each because when I went there for my birth anniversary last year, I stayed a month, and that's when I decided to start gifting these. I usually make pillowcases for the family. Teresa Bailey, hi, up there in Maine. I hope all that rain, you're okay. Teresa Bailey is somebody I met in a quilting group on another, way before I started a channel. I never intended to start a channel, and I'm not doing it, you guys, so that I can eat or pay my rent. I'm doing it so that I can share my knowledge and the things that I've learned in a way that I can reach more people, and so that I can do good deeds. I make quilts of valor. I donate quilts to nonprofit groups because there's a need for them, and it has to be nonprofit because I don't have a lot of money. I live on a fixed income, and I give to those who would not have otherwise. Quilts of Valor is actually my favorite charity because of all those who have given their lives or risked their lives, or their family have risked losing a loved one. And you can donate money, you can donate fabrics. They do have to be 100% cotton for the quilts, and they have special requirements. Someone asked in the last live what size a personal size quilt is, and it's whatever size you decide it to be. But this one, here's a little card if you wanted to screenshot it, what size a queen bed is, how much yardage you need. So a twin is 63 by 87. So I would say anything that's smaller than a twin. But guess what? If you have someone who's very tall or someone who's thick and wide, I like my quilts to be like 59, 60 inches wide, because when I turn over, I don't want my big boom boom sticking out. I don't want my big boom boom sticking out. If you want to contribute to the channel to help me with some of the things I do for good, for to grow the channel, to get things for content, or to donate to organizations. I live in a senior community. There are 3 buildings with some seniors and disabled people. I made about, and Teresa Bailey did too. We made thousands of cloth masks. That's back when you couldn't get any. I donated it to hospitals, to families, to seniors, to nursing homes. And those are the things I do with the money that you donate to the channel. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Jags, J3GS, the honey dripper. Honey slanger. I always do that. I always do that. My sister Joanne and I had a friend, but he was an older gentleman when we were younger, and we went out. You can be sure if the honey dripper was there, y'all girls that was dancing all over the place had at least one drink coming. We used to have so much fun. So these, if you screenshot it, and oh, and these photos, that's how you cut fabrics. If you have like yardage 42, 44 inches and you wanted it to fit a quilt, this is how you cut it. Whitney, I don't know if you could see that pink on the top back there. What had happened was when Joanne Fabrics or one of those places had a sale, you guys who like pink have been pressing me to put pink in things. I didn't have a lot of pink because guess what? I gave all my pink away. So I accidentally bought a bolt of pink to go in different things. And as I said, the moderators will be getting something for Christmas, Mahana, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate anything, you will still be getting one because I appreciate all of your loyalty and the things you've done to help keep the channel going. Like now, I can't see when I turn. And yes, I keep saying I'm going to put another camera up. Guess what I did? I do a little bit at a time. I usually have a helper. I haven't had one for 6 weeks, so I have to do everything by myself. And like a big girl, and it's fine. But the fan that I got the other day, the tower fan, after I took the pieces out of the box, since I can see perfectly out of one eye now, I wear glasses for protection and for reading, but I don't need it for walking around. But my granddaughter can tell you I'm famous. Just like I drop things, I can walk into something if it's on my blind side. I can walk into the wall. I can walk into a phone pole. I did walk into a wall in Arizona and I chipped my two front teeth here. Then right after that, I had a knee replacement and I had to wait. I have to still wait. 6 months isn't over before I can have the dentistry. I'm going to have to get these two teeth capped. Ugh. But I digress. I am well. It is well with my soul. It is well. So, this now back to on task, what we were talking about, we're going to do today. You guys may have a piece of fabric. This is a piece of white mudcloth that was stamped somewhere in Africa and bought over. The edges are still woven, but it was cut off of a 6 foot bolt and the edges were raveling. So my friend gave it to me and asked me if I could put some type of a binding on it, which I will. Oh, and what I want to show you guys, something interesting, I'll have lint all over me, how mudcloth is made in Africa. Oh, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm 30 subscribers away from 2,000, and we're going to have a big party. So when they make fabric in these countries, the mudcloth, can you see this? This is actually like a 5.5 piece. It was probably a 6 inch piece of fabric. It's long, and they sewed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces together to make this. And a lot of the fabrics that they make in these villages and stuff, Indonesia and in Africa, that's what they do. So what I'm going to do is machine sew a binding all around here so that this young lady can hang it in her office. School has started, I think this week, last week. She's an adjunct professor, as I was saying, in one of the local universities. So I hand cut a 2.5 inch strip of fabric. That's what I use for my bindings. A lot of quilters use 2.25. I do not use 2.25. You know why? Because 2.5 inches is a standard strip. That's what they use in something called a jelly roll. and 2.5 inch strips mixed with 5 inch strips, which is called a charm square when it's 5 inches by 5 inches. When it's 10 inches by 10 inches, it's called a stack. And you go from there, fat quarters. So I have already cut what I think I remembered is either 6 or 8 of these strips. I put them together on a 45-degree angle because I like my seams to, when you miter a corner, it's like you miter a corner on a cabinet or something. It's not square, it just looks nice in the corner. So that's how I put it together. And I'm going to sew this around all 4 corners of this piece of mud cloth so she can hang it in her office. I was going to put a hanging strip on it, but I have so many projects. I'm squeezing this one in here to make it for her, but I have so many things that I promised that I have on a list. Crafting with Shay Shay says she makes her binding 2.5 inches too, because you can use your leftover strips for so many things. And most of us don't like to throw things away. So, my Renaissance grandma, hey sis, how are you doing? How are you doing? And that's another one of my friends and family that I have something that will be going out to soon. Okay, Dolores, your mail will be going out soon. Crafty Leo, I don't know if you're here in the bushes, yours will be going out soon. So, I'm going to squeeze this in, and to put this binding on, I usually start somewhere near a corner, not too close, and I leave a big opening, a big opening. Donzel says, Jake, thanks for the video, Shay Shay. So this is where I'm starting, and I'm going to sew the binding in from the back. That's not my usual way of doing it. I usually hand finish mine, but this one, Dolores is saying, thank you, GQuat. Thank you. She knows her package will be going out. So I'm going to sew it on from the back because when I turn it over, I can stitch it down with the sewing machine. So my background for sewing, I have been sewing for over 70 years. I'm almost 76 years old, and I have been sewing. My sister Joanne Stevens will tell you, since I was 6 or 7. I started by hand. Sorry if my butt is sticking out. I didn't say butt, mother, mommy. I didn't say butt on live TV. My boom boom. I mean my boom boom. So I'm going to start on the back here and put this down so that you can see my hands. And this is just a quick little project. I'm leaving a big flap over here, and I'll show you why for when I overlap in the end. So I will be using a 2.5 inch, 2.5 millimeter stitch length. The width is 0, and I will be straight stitching because I'm making my binding 2.5 inches. I will make it a little more than a 1/4 inch because this is very flimsy, ravelly fabric, and I don't want it to ravel a lot. So a few stitches forward, a few stitches back, and I will miter the corners. Hello, Mother. Mike's Chaotic Gardening saying hello, Mommy. Maria Graham saying hello. You want to see the overlap? Everybody closes it different. That's what I will do, Shay Shay. There are different ways to close it. I close it the way they judge them. I used to be a quilt show judge, and this is the way they do it for the quilts that are in the quilt shows, and they show you how to join them. I join them at the end the way that I join them in the middle. I join my entire, I don't know if you guys can see this. It's on an angle. You can barely see it from this side, but I join all of mine, whether I'm making it for a friend, whatever. I try to do it professionally because so many of my quilts I put in exhibits. I show them. I have some quilts that I've never used that are only for exhibits. So when they do a call for artists, I just submit my things. Mrs. D Gardens is saying hello, Mom. Hello to anyone that I didn't see in the bushes. So I will just be sewing, and I'll show you what I do when I get to the corner that will make this a mitered corner. And I'm making sure I stay away from this. This edge is kind of rattling, even though I trimmed it a little with my scissors. So Shay, I don't know if you guys can see this corner. There, I'm going to put a pin before I get to the edge because it will tell me to stop sewing there. So away we go. And I was saying about my background, I teach quilting. I teach long arm quilting. I teach embroidery on the embroidering machine. I used to have actually a home studio that was 1,500 square feet, and I used to teach and finish quilts there. So I got to almost the end of the row. I stopped at a 1/4 inch. I backstitch and I take the pin out. I will show you. So this is me sewing merrily along. You see where I stopped, where the pin is, and this is what it looks. This is what it looks like over there. I think I just bumped something that took my comments away. Okay, I'm back. Oh snap! This is going to be good. Yes, and I don't know if you can see it. And this is how you make perfectly mitered corners. So then, where this pin is, where the actual corner, forget it, where the pin is right now, right? The pin is there. So I put my fabric down on something flat, and I take my 2.5 inch piece of fabric and I fold it back on a diagonal. You see that diagonal? So I put that back. And just a minute, it slipped when I held it up. So I'm making it fit a diagonal to the corner. Why? Because that's what a mitered corner is. It is a diagonal. So I put a pin in just to hold it. You said you finally mastered those tricky corners? Yes. Once you get the hang of it, it's just something you do. Even this little piece here. Even this little piece here. has mitered corners. I just put them on everything because I don't know, that's just what I do. You get into certain habits as a quilter. So along this straight side, and I made this binding in a rush today. And when I ironed it, I see that this little piece is not all the way straight, is not close to the edge. So I'm just going to trim it. See, so that this side is the same on this side and I don't miss any of it. So sometimes when you're joining seams, whatever, if it doesn't go meet exactly, take the time to trim it because then it doesn't stick out and then you end up sewing on the wrong edge. So the pin that was down on the first part, I'm taking out. So I'm going to start sewing again, a little bit off the edge. I did 2 or 3 stitches. Now I'm going to backstitch. You always backstitch when you start and stop. And me, because I'm OCD-ish, I'm going to cut these white strings right now because I'm sewing with white on white fabric, and I won't be able to see the white on white a little bit when I'm rushing at the end. So I'm going to take this pin out that was holding it. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to actually increase my stitch length. Oh, and when you're putting your binding on, don't leave it too loose. Don't leave it loose so that you end up with waffles and wavy edges. Sometimes when I'm doing a show quilt, I will actually measure the length of the seam and pin the whole thing. But you don't have to do that. You have to keep track of what you're doing. This is a piece of fabric. Yes, I'm going to do a good job. It's not going to be sloppy. It's not going to have wavy edges, but it's something that I'm doing for one of my friends, and I'm gifting it to her. She actually lives in my building, and she does things for me. When I need help in the garden, when my raised bed fell and all my good soil came, guess what? She's the one that came and gathered it all up and put it in bags for me. Donzel, this is right here what you love most, quilting. That's my heart too. So if I have packages in the lobby, she brings them up. So she wanted this and she asked for it. First I said, well, you get the fabric for the trim. Then I found this and I said, well, this is colorful for the, not the trim, for the binding. I said, this is colorful. Is this okay? And I brought it down and showed it to her. And she said, sure, it's fine. I like it because the fabric that I'm putting on the edges has leaves on it. And because I'm a gardener, I love things with leaves and gardening and things like that. Shay, you'll love this. Quilting is my passion. Quilting is my passion. Fiber arts. I also, for those of you who are new to the channel, I also paint. I don't know if you can see that painting up there. That's actually a painting of my sister Joanne's husband, Roscoe, in Aruba years ago. Up there on the wall on that side is actually a painting that's like 60 inches wide by 48 inches. It's a painting of that is a good friend, Maria. She and I have been sister friends for like 25 years. We've worked together on different projects, dealing with students, taking them to different art things. She's a writer, so she's with the written arts. So we're still going here, and I'm making sure that by hand, I didn't pin it, I'm just holding the binding down. And see this, it's not something that requires some of the quilting. You have to pay attention. You have to stop on a dime to get your points in. It can be kind of intricate. But this is something that is just loosely, it doesn't even need fabric on the side. I'm just doing it to give it a little pop of color. And since school started at the university, she can put it on the wall. Her grandmother was a quilter. Her grandmother was one of four sisters here in Connecticut, four black women. Her grandmother was a writer. She published several poems, a quilter. Her three aunts were quilters. That little featherweight machine, the 221, I actually bought from one of her aunts, Reverend Bess, back 25 years ago. And I like it because it's little. I could take it anywhere. I could take it on the plane, and it fits under the seat in front of me. You wouldn't want something that heavy in an overhead bed. But I don't have to take my featherweight anymore when I go to Arizona because there's one. Auntie Joanne already has several machines out there to use, and I've actually bought a couple, or maybe one or two, from the secondhand shop. Donzel, do you sew? You dabble with painting? I'm going to be doing some painting. We paint rocks around here. We make postcards, fabric postcards with the scraps. I'll be sending some of those out. So we do what we love, and we love what we do. I hope you can hear me over the machine when I'm talking. Just cutting some of this raveled edge over here before I put the pin for the 1/4 inch mark to stop sewing. But when I go to her apartment, she has all this cool stuff. It's like going to a museum. Everybody says when they come to my downsized apartment, I downsized from 4 acres and 4,000 square feet to an apartment. Why? Because can't take care of a homestead. So again, I stopped a 1/4 inch away. I'm putting a 45-degree angle in there. I take my fingernails and hold it down. Let's see, it's not quite there. Because it just happens that there is a seam where I put the seam. Bio Sugar. Hello, Sugar. Thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. So I'm just going to put a pin on this side to hold the pieces while I take this pin out, and away we go. We put the strings in the back of the machine so that it doesn't get tangled up when we take our first stitches on this side, forward, back. It had a rough time starting because it happened to be a seam just there on that corner, but it's okay. It's okay. Oh, you made a baby quilt, Shay Shay? Oh, how cute. I have a funny story about quilts. So one summer, I think it was about in 2009, I have the sign over there. My great-grandchildren came to North Carolina, and we were making a quilt together. They ranged in ages from 6 to 9, and I told them about respecting the cloth, respecting the quilting. So I was in one room quilting, and I heard all this laughing in another room. I looked in there, they were playing hopscotch on the blocks. Is the army strong? Okay, I missed that one. Okay. So you guys, I am going back through all of my videos And I will be separating all of my quilting videos out. And I will be doing a display on how, okay, here I'm just trimming this seam up, on how to do all the different types of quilting that there are. And by the way, quilting is not piecing. Piecing is not quilting. Piecing is when you sew the blocks together. Quilting is actually the making of a quilt sandwich when you put all three pieces together. This is not quilting. This is just showing you how to put a binding on. And there are no more pieces. People who live in warm areas, warm countries, because my videos go out internationally now. And again, I'm putting a pin in at the 1/4 inch mark. My quilts go out internationally. A lot of them use meters and millimeters and centimeters and stuff. But guess what? If you have a tape measure, one side of the tape measure has inches and the other side has millimeters. So when I belonged to a quilt guild, we used to volunteer every month to go to different centers, like senior centers and other places, to teach the different quilting skills. Okay, so we're coming in. This should be about, oh, we have 2 more corners. Okay, so I'm squaring up, mitering this last corner, and this will go fast because most of my quilts are show quilts. All the quilts that Auntie Joanne has, that when I put the binding on, after I tacked it down with the sewing machine, I hand sewed all of hers. And I don't know how many 120-inch quilts she has. All of my mother's quilts are king size, king size. I hand sewed all of those down. Most quilt shows, your quilts won't even get entered if you machine sew the binding down. You can do machine quilting for the finishing or hand quilting. But as a quilt show judge, I can tell you that they give extra credit to the people who work by hand. Why? Because they want to celebrate the traditional arts and keep them flourishing and growing. Did anybody come in? Oh, you love my work, Auntie. It inspires you to do more. You have to do more. You have to do more. It's so fulfilling and it's spiritual. It's like in the garden. You say, well, I'm going to go out there for an hour. I went out there this morning. I was going to make an after the storm video, and then something happened. There's no Wi-Fi out there. But anyway, it didn't come out. So I just took a photograph of the garden flag I put out there. And the garden itself, I posted it on Facebook and said, hey, I got the enjoyment. And I stayed out there, Mr. Hershey and I, longer than I expected. All right, so this is the end of the last long seam. I don't know, I guess this piece might have been about 60 inches or maybe about 2 yards, 60 inches. Something like that. Me, I would have loved to have this whole piece. I have several pieces of mudcloth, but each 6-foot section is different. There are no 2 alike because the mudcloth is hand stamped. And Dolores has put in how you can join a class. I do teach Zoom classes. So I must have measured this perfectly to make sure I had enough binding. And today is Saturday. Thursday at 4 o'clock, you see me pulling this around. The last thing you want to do when you're doing a binding. When I first started quilting, you guys, years and years ago, I was doing bindings and I measured how many inches I needed to go around the edges, but I did not account for the fact that when you miter the corners, when you're joining them together, that you're losing 5 inches of fabric, 2.5 inches on each piece. And at the end, I had one piece I'll never forget. It was for a piece for a quilt show, and I was about my final binding was about this much too short, and there was no fabric. There was no fabric like that anywhere in the world. And so what did I do? I just put a substitute piece in there. That's all I could do. So that one little piece of binding had fabric that didn't match anything else in the quilt. But it was all I could do. So now this is the part, and I'll stop because this is the part Shay wanted to see. So I'm going to square up this last corner. Oh, she said I'm working these corners fast. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing these corners for 25 years at least. So what I'm going to do when I come to this last one, Shay, I'm just going to get it started, tack it down, because this is the part that took me years to learn how to do. So I'm just going to stop it here because I never do my bindings start or end in a corner. I'm snipping these. So this is the part that is not taught. So this, oh, I thought I saw a string. I did see a string. I thought a putty tack. So I'm just checking my stitches. This is the end of this piece. So I overlapped this. So I'm going to put it down flat. I'm going to put it down flat so that I can see the end of the fabric. This is the end, the salvage edge. I'm cutting the salvage edge off. And when it comes to where this edge is, this is the important part. So this is the edge of my piece. You see where one piece ends, Shay? You see where one piece ends? What you're going to do is overlap this the same width of the binding that you're using. So this is the edge, and I'm going to put, this is a 3-inch ruler, so I'm going 2.5 inches in, and normally I would use a chalk mark, but I just marked it with my finger, and I cut the extra off. Don't be scared, because you know what? If you make a mistake and you're sewing, all you have to do, this is fabric, sew it back together. Sew it back together. It's not like a piece of wood and you can't do anything. So now, this is how you join this. So this is 3/4. What am I talking about? 3/4. You open the binding up. You see, this is flat, and you're going to open both corners, and I'm going to attach it. I want to make sure you get a good view of it. This is the square. You see where it's the end? I'm going to attach this piece in a 45-degree angle, right sides together, or as my nieta Rachel Unbiased says, and I'm going to sew this also. I'm going to connect that in a diagonal. So I'm going to start in the upper corner and hold it with my fingers. You can pin it if you want. I used to pin it. I used to always pin it because I was afraid something would happen. Back stitch, go forward. Now what I'm doing, I'm getting my hand so that I hold the top piece flat, or you can pin it. So there's a square, I'm sewing it on a diagonal right to the tip of where the other fabric will join it. So away we go. And again, I'm going to backstitch. For those of you who are new to sewing, you never turn your fly wheel backwards. You'll lock your stitches up. And if there's a place when you're sewing, when the machine is in the highest position, that's when there's the least amount of tension. So you see this diagonal? I'm going to cut that stuff crashing on the floor that I'm knocking over. I'm going to cut it to a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to put that over in the scraps. No, I'm not throwing it away. Then the part that I just cut off, you can, here's a string here that I see I missed. And take your time, you guys, when you're making something for yourself or others. The details matter. Details matter. So, you see where I sewed this on a diagonal? If I had my iron out, I might or might not get up. So what I'm doing, I'm finger pressing the seam open. By the way, when I connected my binding, I pressed all the seams open before I folded them, and that way, I want to show you. So you see this? It's flat. It's flat. And when I open it up, I just want to open it up so that you could see it. It's kind of hard to see it. By it being on a diagonal, there's no hard line on the inside. Let me open my seam back up. If I press this with the iron, it would be better. But this is just a little fun piece. I will press it later on for her. Now this little piece I'm just holding down to make sure that when I sew it, you see this? You see how this is even and flat? It's perfect. There's no bulges. There are no bulges. It lies flat. You see in the back, there's no bulges. So now I'm going to go back but you see how much room I left when I first started? Oh my goodness, I would sew almost right up to where I was connecting it. You don't have to do that. You could do it way over on the side. So now I left myself, let me see, I don't measure it anymore. I left myself like 12 inches, 12 inches to close it. And you see it's perfectly flat, perfectly flat. So I line it back up so that I finish stitching. I'm going to cut the thread with these huge scissors. And just finish sewing across and back stitch. Ta-da! So take this pin out. Oh, thank you, Shay Shay. Thank you so much. So we're gonna finish this, but we're gonna do our little money dance. Auntie gonna dance. She gonna shake it for you. She gonna shake. Oh, get that thing, Auntie. Oh, you better work, work, work. I say it's in the dirt, say, look back at it, work. No, I didn't, Mother. Okay, so now we've got this side. So guess what we do? We're going to turn this over and fasten it down from the front. So you can press it or not. I'm pulling it with my fingers because I've done it so much. I'm making sure that this mud cloth is really, really rough fabric. I may have to trim it later, but I'm just folding this down. That's the easy part. I can fold it down part way or halfway. I think I'll just do about like a normal quilt would be, like about this much. And we're just going to sew it down from the front because you can do this like with children's quilts, charity quilts. The sewing it down by hand is an art. It's an art form. Hand sewing is an art, but you ain't nobody got time to do all the quilts, all the stuff you want to do. So I normally like to sew on the right side of my machine because I'm totally blind in my left eye. But I have my machine sitting over on the table to where I have it sitting over so that I'm actually lined up exactly with my right eye. Because you know what? When you close one eye, you can't see out of it. Your depth perception is off. That's why those of you who go to the range and do pew pews, you keep both eyes open. That's how you do it. You keep both eyes open because if you close one, your depth perception is off. So now we're going to do a few stitches forward, step to the left, step to the right, and we're going to turn the edges down on the inside and sew close to the edge. And push this binding down. It's a little bit awkward holding it because all these strips of the batik, you usually work on the opposite side where it seems to flow better for me. You know what? There's no right way and there's no wrong way, Shay Shay. You do what's comfortable for you. You do what's comfortable for you. Like most people have all the gizmos on the right hand side to 1/4 inch sew. I can tell 1/4 inch, 1/3 inch just by looking at it, just because I've been sewing so long. My dad was in construction growing up, and my last husband as well. I co-owned a construction company, so you get used to measurements. And you measure twice and cut once. You're cutting fabric that's $20 a yard, $25 a yard. You don't want to be messing that fabric up or having extra seams in it where the seams don't belong. I'm being quiet because I'm sewing with white thread, off white. I never use white. I never, ever, ever use white unless I'm making military quilts, flag quilts for veterans quilts. You like sewing because there's so many different ways to do things. Yes, yes. And you know what? When you sew in a group, you find people doing things in ways that you never, ever, ever thought about. So what I'm doing, I'm getting near the corner. I'm making sure that the corner edge will be turned down. So when I get there, it'll miter. So I am turning these under. And one of these, I don't know if this is the corner, ended up with the joining of the fabric being right in the corner of the miter. So I'm making sure I get him tucked down good. And I don't have my pointer, but you can use anything. My stylus. I'm actually going to backspace the cord because this is thick. Okay, now I'm going to turn him under. Oh, she's going to love this. When she goes to work Monday, she'll be able to hang it on her wall and get her office decorated. Okay. So can you see how nicely it's coming, you guys? I'll hold it up in a minute and you can see the stitches. Shay Shay, I'll be over your house to see you. Bring y'all some cornbread and something I brought. When I used to have my quilting studio with the house, I would cook. I'd cook a pot of beans, a pot of soup, cornbread, a salad. I had a big garden at the North Carolina homestead. People would come and stay all day. Sometimes I would leave, put my stuff in the car, and pretend I had someplace so they would go because they would want to stay past the hours. Yes, we can. Thank you. So I will show you this to show you that you can find something at the secondhand stores. You can find just a piece of fabric, a piece of like this, a piece of mudcloth, and just put a binding on it and do it. But you also know how to put a binding on anything now, on anything. And if it doesn't come out perfect the first time, just do it again, do it again, do it again. It'll get perfect. Mine weren't always perfect. I had to learn. I am almost 76 years old. Do you know how many times I have done this? It's like cooking from scratch and the ones that measure and don't measure. My mother never took a measuring cup out. My sister Joanne Stevens will tell you, Mommy made the best pie crust, the best peach cobblers. I still can't make pie crust like Mommy because I have to measure my stuff. And I would get so mad at her. I'm like, Well, mommy, how much of that did you put in? Like she put a pinch of salt in the crust. And she'd reach over and do it before I could even see what was in her hand. Because she didn't have time for all that explaining. She was trying to feed her family and anybody else that stopped by. And we always had a garden. We always had extra for anybody that stopped by. I used to get mad at Daddy sometimes. He had a construction business, and the workers would come to work in the morning, and he would say, Pen, fix them a plate. Fix them a plate. They just left home. Hey, I bring it every day. How you doing, Kelly? And I would be mad at having thunderstorms. They just left home. They got paid Friday. They knew they had to work this week. They should have brought their food. Daddy would say, Pen, just fix them a plate. He knew those guys couldn't work in construction on his trucks, on the dump trucks all day, on an empty stomach. It didn't matter why they were hungry. They were hungry, and he made us feed them and made sure they had some water. Hey, Deidre, the analytic garden. Thank you, gardener. Thank you for coming. So what I'm doing, you guys, is sewing a binding, a machine binding on a piece of fabric. It's not a quilt. It's a piece of mudcloth. And I'm mitering the corners and mitering how it's connected so that it doesn't leave a big mark. If I had my stylus out, I would put that there because sometimes it goes near the edge. And this is a fabric that is rolled naturally. So it's trying to turn up on the edge. But I got you. I got you. You are not going anywhere. Mother, how you doing today, Mom? Tried to call you. You didn't answer me. I will call you back after the live. Sometimes I try to reach my mother and I don't. Then when I go there the next day, she tell me everything I did bad when I was in the live. How good I was acting up. So you guys, I'm checking to see if I have any questions. Our church at home, Nancy says, thank you. Nancy sews, you guys. In fact, we're going to be working on some projects together. She came up live a couple weeks ago and made neck bone pillows with me. So now she knows how to applique a heart on it or any other little thing. If you don't want rough edges, you can always do rough edges, zigzag them, or just sew them down, glue them down. By the way, some people, not a lot, some people when they're doing their edges shay, they take just some Elmer's glue and put it under and then steam iron it with an iron, and it helps keep it down. Me, I'm just roughing it. I'm just holding it down with my fingers because my friend just wanted it to hang in her office and have some color on the edge so it wouldn't be raveling. And that's what I'm doing. And it will be nice. And it will be ready. The main thing about it is it is finished. It will be finished. It will be finished. Am I going to put my label in it? No. No. You know why? Because this is not an original piece of art. This is somebody else's mudcloth. And all I did was put the binding on it. Maria Graham, sister, you want me to work it for you. You want me to dance again. I'm going to have to dance. Here we go. Oh, go, Auntie. What? What? Oh no, Mom, I'm not acting up. I'm not going to drop it. You guys, you make me laugh. You make me happy. And thank you for the dollars, y'all. But I want to thank all of y'all who are in here on a Saturday. I wish I could fix you something to eat, make you some of that hibiscus tea that we make in the summertime around the house. I don't have any of that Jamaican sorrel myself, but I buy it organic online, and my whole family loves it. We make it all the time, don't we, Auntie Joanne? My daughter puts guava syrup in there, and lemon, and lemons from Auntie Joanne's Meyer lemon tree. So we're getting to the corner, and we're going to turn it over and miter it again and sew it down. I'll tell you, this mud cloth is very awkward, but we got this. Let me turn this side down. All right. Un momento, y'all. Backstitch a little bit because I don't know if I caught him. And my eye is watering. You wish so too? What are we wishing? Wish upon a star. Oh, dance, Auntie. You guys are funny. Make me act up. Make me act up over here. Mom, I was being good. They were making me be bad. Be bad. There is a channel in the DMV area, and it's a senior hand dance channel, and it plays all that old music that you play at night, Bayou Sugar, and them elders be getting it. They be getting it. I go to my mother's house and put it on, and sometimes I chair dance with her. I'm the one twirling around and dancing and acting a fool. And we do puzzles together. We have fun. All right, Mommy? And then my mother has a king size bed. I always go plop on Daddy's side because Daddy's no longer here to get on it. And Joanne says we do. She's talking about the tea and the stuff that we make. And my mother says about because her bed is so big and she has about 10 king size pillows on it. But you know what she sleeps on? She sleeps on her little neck bone pillow that I made her. And then I made her a little neck bone pillow for her reclining chair, and she likes that one under her arm. Those pillows are so good. You put them wherever you want them. Okay, doke. So round and round she goes. This little jagged piece of fabric. So you trim as you go, you guys. This your work. Your work is you know. And the one time you don't do something right, that's the one time somebody looks at it, turns it over, and would have bought it. You would have sold it or whatever, but that one time you took the one time you took a detail and you didn't put it in, always do your best work. Daddy used to say that, do the best you can. And then Mommy says sometimes your best isn't good enough. But if you do your best, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So, but also you do have to consider those of you who are doing crafts and selling them, you can't work for free. So charge an honest dollar. You know, if you can't make it for $10, you tell them. that yours is 15 and you tell them why. You show them the details. You show them what you put in extra, how much it costs, how much your labor is, your time. You know, you work out your estimate and don't take less than you deserve. If you're giving it away, that's one thing. But don't let people play you, okay? Do not let people play you because they will. Everybody wants something, not everybody. Like the people in here who made me dance. They know I dance for dollars. But it's like they appreciate me taking the time to show things. Why? Because everybody doesn't know how to show you how to do this. I want you to know how to do it right. I'm not doing it so that I can go buy lottery tickets tonight. No, this is how you do it. You may not do it today. You may look at this video or even section it out, you know, copy it, download it, just cut this section out. But I will be doing it again, and I will be doing it on quilts, on table runners, on placemats, because you know why? This is how I do it every time, because it keeps me in the habit, and it's the right way to do it. I like things decent and proper, decent and in order. Decent and in order. And then when I give somebody something and they pay for it, this little piece is sticking up, so I'm going to cut it. I feel good. I feel good that I gave them the best piece of art that I was capable of making that day. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. There's no such thing as perfect. You do the best you can. Okay, Michael. I don't see my stylus. My nips are on the floor. I'm moving my fingers and getting a holder. I'm not sticking my fingers under there today. Messing around, talking, or whatever. I was telling you about my friend who's getting this. On her when her grandmother passed, she had some blocks that her grandmother had left over, or like in her quilting and her sewing stuff. They actually gave me all of the vintage fabric. Her grandmother and her grandmother's sister. Her grandmother, two sisters, were married to two brothers here in town. But she had some orphan blocks that were her grandmother's, and I took them as well as some of her grandmother's old fabric and made a memory quilt for her out of them. And she has it sitting on her wall upstairs. I love going to her apartment. She has incense and, you know, those exotic smells like you're going into a soap shop. And she's got all her art pieces on the wall, and different fabrics and masks and things that she's African, especially African, Afrocentric art that she has collected over the years. Poetry. She has a chair that she sits in when she writes. That I have a chair that I like to sit in when I go up there. I don't wear shoes in my apartment. So when I go up there and they say, "Oh, you came up here from your apartment with no shoes?" No, I have shoes. I left them at the door. I give her place the same respect that I give my own place. I don't wear shoes in my house, so I don't wear shoes in hers. We're almost done, you guys. And I want you to see, oh, this is so cute. We only have a little bit more. And I will take it up. Oh, the same friend. Because I hate the way my arms look. My sister tells me don't tell you all things because then everybody looks at it. So when I had surgery, when I went to Arizona last November for a month, I didn't do my arm weights, and then I wasn't supposed to lift anything. I hate the way my arms look. So I have 5-pound weights, but after we sold the property, I didn't have 10-pound weights. So she's moving up to 15-pound weights. She came down and she brought me her 10-pound weights so that I can do my arms and step up. And then she takes them back and puts them in my bedroom. She says, where do you want me to put them? I said, I'll put them wherever you want to. And she says, I'm going to put them somewhere you don't trip over them. She knows if it's on my blind side, I might walking around at night. So I'm turning this down. And again, this mud cloth is like uneven in certain areas where it's overlapped. But that's okay. This is still going to be gorgeous. It will be a nice little pop of color on the edges. And when you guys are gone, I will go around with the snips and do quality control, and any little loose threads, I will trim them myself before I give it to her. Why? Because when you're proud of your work, that's what you do. So we're almost at the last corner, and then I will show you what it looks like. Usually put out a movie when you're binding because it takes some time. When I'm binding by hand, it takes a lot. Sometimes when sifting some soil and all those are on late at night, that's what I'm doing. They're crocheting and I'm doing what I do, or lining up these neck over pillows, so that when I take them to the machine, all I have to do is sew them. Like I have this pile, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 down here ready to sew. What is this? Batting, because I have some placemats ready to sew. I always have something. If I have a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even if it's not something big, a long one like with a movie, like Shay saying, if I only have 10, 15 minutes, I do something every day. Every day I do a little bit of something. So I can sew fast on the edges because they're straight. They're just wavy because the fabric is loose. But some places where it's flat, it's easy to sew. I could just floor it. But this is fun talking to you guys while I'm doing it. You're my movie today, Shay. You're Auntie Ellen's movie. Is this for the local art fair? No. This is just for a friend who asked me if I could put something on here for her. And yes, am I charging her for it? No. Why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. And she's right here with my building, and we do things for each other. She didn't charge me to get all that soil up when it fell out of my raised bed outside. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't have a garden if it wasn't for her daughter, and a couple other sister friends. I'm not able to dig. I'm not able to dig with a shovel. They did the digging with the shovel and the taking the grass out of it. And then I made it into a container garden. So now I don't have to do digging. I just take that little hand fork and beat it up a little bit and amend the soil. So that's what friends are for. I can't sing the Anne Warwick's song, but you guys get the gist of it. And I'm happy that I got it ready for when school started. So, what is this? Oh, I saw something white. So, if you see something that doesn't look right, you guys stop and fix it. It was a little piece of lint from the mud cloth, and it was sticking up in the corner. I would have sewed it under, and it would have been sticking up forever. That's not how you want your work to look. Because you know what? This stuff that we're making, this stuff is going to outlast us on Earth. So, let me hold this corner down. you guys. I'm using my snips for a stylus. I'm going to backstitch it a little bit. You don't usually have to, but this is a heavy mud cloth, so I want it to not come loose in the corners. She's pulling on it, hanging it, moving it around. All right. We're coming in for the home stretch. We passed the 3/4 mile pole for those of you into horse racing at the racetrack. I used to have horses, you guys. A couple of them were thoroughbreds. One, my son had a quarter horse. They weren't racetrack quality horses. They were just family quality horses. But two of the horses had been shown in Madison Square Garden. Do any of you have horses or like horses? Oh, you know what is funny? At the Olympics, Snoop Dogg is there, and Martha Stewart, of course, has horses. So they're going to some of the equestrian events. And it tickles me. Snoop is scared of horses. I'm like, I don't get it why people are scared of horses or dogs. I never knew how to be afraid of them. Or the horses, like giving them carrots or sugar. You just keep your fingertips out of the way, and their lips are so soft and like fuzzy. It's like velvet around their muzzle. Around their muzzle. I have to tell you about some of the funny horse stories. Auntie Joanne has been horseback riding. Uncle Roscoe, when they used to come to North Carolina, we used to go to all-day trail rides out in the woods. Whoever was on the lead horse would have a machete hacking the big trees down and whatever, jumping over branches, under branches, crossing rivers on horseback. Not rivers, but little streams, going down steep inclines, racing on dirt roads where the horses take a 1/4 mile to 100 yards to stop when they're skidding, when they're going full speed. And it was fun. You used to be afraid of dogs, but not anymore. I used to breed Cane Corso Italian Mastiffs. Those of you who know vision preparedness, did you see me almost fall off this chair just now? The big dogs like that, 170-pound dogs. Didn't have to worry about squirrels in the garden down there or any small animals. When the dogs were loose, there was nothing running on the property. Sometimes the gardener would say, Miss Penny, there's a dead rabbit, a wild rabbit in the woods. I'm like, well, just get it up and bury it. So, and they'd be like, well, it ain't like the rabbit was standing still. I'm like, these dogs are hunters. They used to hunt wild lions, wild boars. They no joke. And I'm right behind them. So, you guys, Dolores said, be careful. She heard me say I almost fell off the chair. So, this is what we have. We have a binding on here, and she can hang it the long way or the short way. She can put stuff on there. So, do any of you have any questions? Did you enjoy this? So we'll be doing binding again. And I enjoyed showing you how to do it. I enjoyed having something ready to show my friend. So, I'm saying what you guys are saying. Be careful. You loved it. You enjoyed it, Shay Shay. I'm coming over to your place, Shay Shay, too. I want to play at your house. I just love it. I wish you were nearby and you could bring your sewing machine and we could have some time together. So, Egoamote mother, in American Sign Language, this is an I, this is an L, this is how you say I love you. and come back again. I'll be here live Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So now it's time to say goodbye. Bye, everybody. To all our lovely friends. As soon as I find the thing to